Hey y'all, thanks for joining me. In my last video on the Kiev Caves Lavra, I talked about the spiritual shield had fallen because of the takeover of the schismatics in all areas of the Lavra caves, the near caves, the far caves, all of those all the areas where the monks are. They've been kicking them out. Also, the churches have been taken over. There's a new update on this, and that's why I'm sharing this now. It's another sacrilege. Really, the evil one is working overtime on this situation. I think a lot of the stuff that's happening there is what happened during Soviet times, and the Ukrainian state is doing the same thing, and that's what I believe. So let me go into this article. The first one. I have a few to share with you. So they're talking about the state. That means the president, Zelensky, and his state government are working on this pantheon to be built in the Lavra. According to an XMP, that would mean destroying it. Okay, this is a pretty serious situation here. The Kiev Lavra is facing destruction during the construction of the National Pantheon of Heroes. That's what this foreign parliament member is saying. He emphasized that the site scheduled for construction is located directly on the Lavra grounds, which is under UNESCO protection. In his opinion, large-scale construction could damage the caves and other historical objects of the monument. So it's what he says. Nothing can be built there, not just a pantheon, nothing at all can be built. In addition to that architectural aspect, the former deputy pointed to the spiritual dimension of the problem. Canonically, burial in a monastery is permissible only by decision of the brotherhood, and for exceptional service to the church. So he says among the likely participants of the pantheon, he says he's named figures who belonged to the UGCC or other denominations or had no connection to Orthodoxy. Which in his words could provoke interfaith confrontation in society. This is his quote. God is not mocked. Do you understand? What Zelensky is doing is the destruction of the third abode of the Most Holy Theotokos. And by destroying the third abode of the Most Holy Theotokos, the Soviet Zelensky is also stirring up a wave of anti-Semitism in the country. You understand this? A Soviet J is destroying an Orthodox shrine. This could even lead to pogroms, give rise to a new, I can't pronounce that. So, according to him, the decision to build the pantheon in the Lavra belongs personally to Zelensky. This is what this former MP is saying. This is serious stuff. Now, this other one, this analyst on Lavra Pantheon, he says Zelensky wants to strike church where it hurts. Now, this is the analyst's name is Bondarenko. He says there's no need to place the pantheon specifically in the Lavra. The president is driven by cynicism and a desire to hurt believers. So this is what he says, quote, "This is primarily about carrying out yet another act against the Ukrainian Orthodox Church, against canonical Orthodoxy in Ukraine. As if expelling the church were not enough, as if blasphemous actions such as rock concerts in the refectory church were not enough. They have now finally decided to create a pantheon on the territory of an Orthodox monastery, a shrine for the entire Orthodox world, not only for the Ukrainian Orthodox Church." He stressed that European countries have never built pantheons inside holy sites. That's true. He says, quote, "If a state wants to build a pantheon, it builds it from scratch, as happened, for example, in Paris. The French did not choose Notre Dame Cathedral for the Pantheon, but a building on the left bank in the Latin Quarter. Nearby, incidentally, there is a church where Saint Guinevere is buried, but the pantheon is not located on the site of her burial. Therefore, in this situation, this is solely about Zelensky simply wanting to deal another painful blow to the church. According to him, the head of state is guided not by political motives, but by personal hostility toward the church. So he says Zelensky is a deeply atheistic man who does not belong to any confession. He acts solely out of his own cynicism, trying to strike Ukrainian Orthodoxy as painfully as possible. At the same time, the political analyst doubts the Pantheon will ever be built at all. He says, technically, it is impossible while the project has two real purposes. He said the first is to absorb budget funds. The second is what he sees as a slap in the face to the church. Money will be allocated and then dispersed into private pockets. Exactly as happened with the university Zelensky was planning to build. So, you have a former MP, you have an analyst, talking about how this is a horrible idea. None of these people wanted to be, none of these secular people want to be buried in a monastery anyway, but it's just unconscionable what's happening. But here, this is what is going on because the shield is coming down, okay? It just continues to get worse. Here is this that's even that's quite offensive. Domenko to Athonite monk. We're freeing Lavra from shackles of quote-unquote Russian world. This nationalism, I know this hatred, I know it's going on between the two sides because, after war for 4 years, it's very hard not to become embittered and loathe the person you're fighting against. But they're going to have to deal with that. When this war is over, they're going to have to deal with that. I remember reading a story about that. Let me just read this. And he says, the head of the OCU said that the Kiev Caves Lavra is being freed, quote unquote, from the, quote, false teaching of the Russian world and is returning to, quote unquote, true service. This is the evil one in action, using these people as pawns to try to destroy the Ukrainian Orthodox Church and cause more divisions and more. I see this every day actually in posts. I saw on Facebook that they were going on about that there, basically saying that this is all Russian propaganda. This is not about Russian propaganda. This is not about political things. This is about a spiritual thing. And causing division between two Orthodox churches and brothers and sisters is of the enemy, the evil one. I am tired of hearing and reading people looking at everything through this animosity of in this case mostly the Russian, but I don't want animosity from either side. I don't want people to be acting hateful to their brothers and sisters in Ukraine or in Russia. But this is what I'm seeing. They're caught up in the political propaganda, as they said, and they're not looking at what actually is happening to the church because of this. They just continue to blame the Russian, Putin, all that, Kirill and all that. Yeah, Kirill, I'm sure he's made mistakes. He's not done, there's some things he hasn't been doing that's great. That's not the point. The point is keeping Christ's body together. So this is just adding to it. This new pantheon thing they're trying to do, which is basically kind of, some kind of secular pagan. I heard it was like neo-pagan things. It has nothing to do with a monastery with a holy site, one of the most holy sites in the Orthodox world, being used in such a manner that's blasphemous, in my opinion, sacrilege, and they just want to ruin, they want to dismantle anything spiritually going on left in that compound. And in doing that, the country is going to be destroyed. You take God out, you take out the holiness and the prayers, you're done. You're done. Sorry, this is really irritating to me. So, this is, again, here's the quote from Domenko. This place is now being freed from these shackles of deception and is returning to true service to God, the church, and the salvation of people. Again, he is being a tool of the devil. There's no other way to put this. Stop causing these divisions. It's very irritating to me, and it's very upsetting. Having said all that, we know that this is happening. We know because why? Because of the prophecies. And I will go back into what Saint Lawrence of Chernigov had said on this issue. When a little freedom appears, when the churches and monasteries are being opened and restored, then all false teaching will come out, and the demons and secret atheists, and then he names all these people, and will fiercely take up arms against the Orthodox Russian Church. Its unity and its conciliar nature, a godless authority, will support these heretics. Well, we've already seen that, haven't we? And therefore, they will take churches away from the Orthodox and slaughter the faithful. They've been doing that for the past 3 years. And probably even more than that, but that's what I recall by what I've been following. Then the Metropolitan of Kiev, not worthy of the name, he's talking about the pretend one, together with his like-minded hierarchs and priests, will strongly shake the Russian church. Yeah, we see that's happening. The whole world will be amazed at his lawlessness and will be frightened. He himself will go off into eternal perdition like Judas. That's terrible. But that's what he's saying. That's what St. Lawrence said. But all these slanders of the evil one and false teachings will disappear in Russia, and there will be one Orthodox Russian church. Now, the other thing mentioned here, as I've said before, I've shared with you all several times on this. They also reported that Igor Strelkov, previously Minister of Defense of the Donetsk People's Republic, also claimed in late 2022 that in 2014, while he was minister, monks from this particular monastery approached him bearing this prophecy. Half a year after the heretics take over the Kiev Caves Lavra and the caves, Russia will reunite with Ukraine as it was before, and Kiev will be liberated not just from the heretics, but also all outside forces. We know this is coming. We know it. We can see what the saint said, that this is happening. The Saint Lawrence said what he had said. It is happening. We see what's been going on with the church, the Canonical Church in Ukraine. It just seems to just continue to get worse and worse and worse. Like I said, the spiritual shield is down because the people there are causing it to be down. You know what I don't understand is their history of being under Soviets. I don't understand how they would so quickly turn around and do the same thing. I don't understand why they would go this route. Well, if they have that atheist leader, I guess that guy doesn't care, and he doesn't have a problem. He doesn't care. All he cares about, Zelensky cares about, is making money. Apparently, that's what I've noticed. So, really disturbing. I wanted to share that with you. to give you an update. We know things will change eventually, and the church will be restored in union, union together, and all that's been the splits they've been working on, the evil one. So let's keep praying. Keep praying for God's mercy on what's to come and what is happening, because we're in the midst of all of it. And let's continue to repent and stay close to God, stay close to Christ. Thanks so much for watching and for following my channel. If you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. Like my videos if you think they're worth liking. Share my videos if you think they're worth sharing. Hit that notification bell so you can be notified when my videos come out. If you'd like to become a member, hit that join button at below this video. We have 3 tiers. The light a candle tier for $2.99. That's tier 1. Tier 2, coffee hour Java. That's for $4.99 a month. And then the Research Rudder tier 3 for $8.99 a month. Become a part of my team. If you would like to support me sporadically, you can still buy me a cup of coffee, and that link is in the description. Thanks so much for all of your support in any way you support me. God bless.